Okay, the very first step that you're gonna do you're gonna take a 12 by 18 paper, okay? Now, if you don't have a 12 by 18, you're welcome to take two papers and, your regular typing paper. You could go ahead and tape it together and use that. That would be a 12 by 18 or close to a 12 by 18. Actually, it comes out to, I think it's 8 and 8, 8.5, 8.5 by 11. Forget what that is. All right, so what you're going to do, the first step is that you're going to take your paper physically, okay, and you're going to literally fold it in half, hot dog style, okay? It just makes it easier, okay, for the next part, okay? So you're going to take your paper and you're going to fold it. Okay, that's the first step. The second step after that, you're going to take your fingers and right here along the edge, actually, let me do this. Let me put black paper behind me so you can see the contrast, okay? Now, right here at the edge, okay, you're going to go ahead and with your fingers on that fold, and I'll tell you what, to emphasize it, we'll go ahead and dot the fold, okay? A nice dash line on the fold, that center fold that I just made, okay? Now, on that line, and from the top, 3 fingers down, I would use your index, your middle, and your ring finger. And those 3 fingers together, okay, on the edge, right on that edge, 3 fingers down, draw a line, okay? Next step, okay? 1 hand space. So 1 hand space, like so, and go ahead and draw a line, just like that. Now, the next step, move it down, and from that mark that you just made, again, 3 fingers, 1 hand, and now 3 fingers again, okay? Just like that. Now, next step, I'm gonna now use my 4 fingers, okay? And on that dash line in the center, starting with your index, middle, ring, and pinky, okay, all 4 together. And I would take the smallest measurement from this point to right about here, okay? Stop there. And then do it to the other side. On that edge, on that halfway point, 4 fingers measurement, and put a mark. Do it again, do it twice here, and then 1 here, and then 1 on the other side. So you've got 4 markings, 4 fingers, 4 fingers, 4 fingers, 4 fingers, okay? Next step, I would either A, use a ruler, or B, use your hand and freehand it. I would go ahead and continue that line. Join those lines as best as you can, okay? As rough as you can, that's fine. And the other 2 lines, same thing. Join them together, make sure that they go across. And now you're seeing that I'm making a rectangle. Not this first line that you did, but the second one, or I should say the third line. Remember, it was 3 fingers, a hand, 3 fingers. So at that end, you're gonna go ahead and draw that line. So now what do we have? We have this rectangular form, okay? This rectangular form, and now what are you going to do? You're gonna take that rectangular form and you're going to round out the edges, okay? Now, why did I do this step? Is because I know there's some students in here that don't know how to draw an oval. So this is for you, okay? And I know that, I've learned it, okay? Being a teacher for so many years, I learned it, that my kids don't even know how to draw an oval. So how can I get them to draw a portrait? So yeah, I've learned that. So what I did is I came up with this step for you, okay? So now you've got something that pretty much resembles some kind of oval. Now, next step, okay? Like I said, we're just putting down, what was it called? The proportions. We're putting down the proportions first, okay? We are settling the proportions right now, okay? Now, next step, from this point to this point, according to that If you remember from that very first talk, we saw that image of the face. From here to here, find the halfway. What I do is I just take it, I'll hold it at that point, I match it up with this point, and I literally fold it so that it's dead straight in the center. Okay? Next step. Between here and here, another halfway. Now, you could literally just find the halfway point and sketch it in, or another method that I have done with my students is fold it at that point, okay, and then match it to the middle, so that way you know for sure you are literally folding the paper at that halfway point, okay? So either A, you could quickly find it by sketching it or measuring it if you want to be picky, okay, from that point to that point, halfway, okay? And then, like I said, remember that the nose is going to be, it's going to touch that line, or it's going to be slightly above. It's going to be anywhere between those two areas, okay? Now, next step. Between here and here, a third. So if you were literally to take this area here, between here and here, and go ahead and break it down into thirds, okay? 1, 2, and 3, okay? 1, 2, 3 areas, okay? So if we were literally to break it down into thirds, this is the first third. So let's talk about what goes where now. At that first third is roughly where that mouth will lie. Okay, so let's break this down again. This is that eye line. This is that nose line. Okay, let's put dashed lines so you guys could see what's going on over here. Because I know with a simple fold, it doesn't tell you much, okay? Now, that halfway point is where the eyes are. Now, remember another thing that I said. From that line, remember, it was one finger on one side, one finger on the other side, 2 fingers from that point, 2 fingers, okay? So what does that do? That shows you where the eyes will be. And the eyes are usually 1 eye distance apart, okay? Now, next step. As I told you to, I tend to look for the right triangle. That's what I do. The nose is literally, like I said, between this point and this point. Roughly, the nose will fall into that area right here, okay? And usually, the nostrils tend to extend outward by a 1/4 inch. And roughly, the nose goes right about there. Eyes go right about there. Now, remember the pupil thing. Remember the pupil. You can lightly sketch it in where your pupils are going to be, okay? Boom. Then, right on this mouth line, okay, remember like we said, this was like the third, this was half, this was half. Okay, now, in this area here is where that mouth will lie. So here is that top part of the mouth, here is that bottom part of the mouth. And your shape of your face is going to change. Okay, it's not going to stay with this oval. You're going to look at yourself in the mirror and you will change this according to your face. Okay, now another thing, eyebrows. Okay, I usually go from that center point of where the eyes are, that pupil area, and it's literally like an arc. If I were to arc it right there with my compass, roughly that would be where those eyebrows lie. And they usually kind of come up and down, or straight, whatever the kind of eyebrows those people or the person has. Now, another thing that you may go with is I go from straight here from the center of the 2 eyes. And again, I arc it for the hairline. And roughly, if I take a compass from that point, I could literally just do that little arc right there, and that's going to be where my hair will lie. Now, so far we've got a halfway point between this point and this point for the eyes. Remember, the eyes are on this line, top and bottom. Here's that little dashed area. So top and bottom, the eyes fall in there. Now, don't forget also that is 1 eye distance apart. Whatever the measurement is here, it's 2 times in this area, okay? Now, drop a line, and a little bit past that point is where the nose lies. Drop a line, beginning and ending of where the mouth lies, okay? And remember all those things that we did with the mouth, the nose, the ears, and whatever. So now, Don't forget those arcs. Don't forget those arcs. Don't forget the arc. And last but not least, the hard part, the intersection between this mouth line and this eye. Okay, if we were dropping tears through here, 45 degree. Okay, literally, yes, 45 degrees. Sounds weird, but this is what it is. So that 45 degree, drop a line, and that's the beginning and ending of where the neck is, okay? And then neck, that trapezius just goes out like that. So roughly now you have this pattern here that you're now gonna look in the mirror and put your pieces into that puzzle, okay? Now, last but not least, the easiest part, your ears are gonna fall in between the eye and the nose area. So roughly right there is where your ears will lie, okay? You're not gonna see much of them, just like I said, with practice, when we were working on the practice, I told you that you would not see much of it. So now what you're gonna do, you're gonna make all your mistakes on this paper. You're gonna erase 10 times, 50 times. Then what do? Now you then get your better paper. Let's say now let's say you decide, oh man, I'm gonna have fun with this portrait. I'm gonna make it huge and I'm gonna do it on an 18 by 24. You don't have to, but in case you do decide. And then you'll tape 2 of your papers together and have fun. So you'll take that image that you just created by looking off your portrait, okay, by looking off the mirror, putting your pieces into that puzzle. Now what you're gonna do, you've got your drawing, you're finished. Next step, take a picture of it, send it to me, and then what you're gonna do after that, you're gonna use your pencil. In my case, I've got a blue pencil at hand, and I'm just gonna go behind here. I will tell you another magical thing you could do. You could take your paper, put it against a window somewhere, so that way you could see through to the paper. And you just go over the lines. You could just relatively go over the whole darn paper like this. Because what will happen after you mark that all up, and I'm losing it, sorry. My pencil needs to be sharpened, but that's okay. I don't want to get up for demonstration right now. This will be fine enough. And now what's going to happen, since I covered that whole thing with color, now as I now I'm transferring. I'm taking all that work that I just did, my eyes, my ears, my nose, my mouth, I made 100 erasures, whatever I needed to do. Now I'm going to place it onto my portrait, okay? And now I'm going to transfer my portrait onto that paper. So now all the work that I just did, to get there, I didn't do the work. You're going to sit there in front of the mirror and you're going to look at yourself and you're going to try to your best ability to get everything that, we talked about with the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, in our what we did last week, okay? So you're going to go ahead and put your pieces into here, looking at a mirror, and you're going to trace it onto your new paper. So this will now be the clean copy. And then go into your color, have fun with your technique, play around in the background with 5 things to represent you, tell a little story if you want, up to you. Are there any questions?
Should I do one?